Long ago, in a quiet land surrounded by golden deserts and deep green fields, there was a small but beautiful kingdom named Averia. The river Saran flowed through it like a silver ribbon, bringing life to every tree and every soul. The people of Averia were simple. They believed in kindness, art, and dreams. The air smelled of jasmine at night, and the palace bells rang softly every morning. In this kingdom lived a young man named Aaron. He was a painter, not rich, not noble, but gifted with hands that could make color speak. He painted sunsets, flowers, and faces of people who could not afford mirrors. His house was small, made of stone, near the edge of the river. Every dawn, he would sit by the water and paint the rising sun. Sometimes, he talked to the river as if it were his friend. "Tell me," he would whisper, "do you also carry dreams when you flow?" Inside the tall marble walls of Averia's palace lived Princess Liana, the only daughter of King Darian. She was known for her gentle heart, not for jewels or silk. Though she had everything, wealth, music, gardens, she often felt lonely. Her father was a strict ruler, her mother had passed away when she was a child. Liana often escaped to the royal gardens, barefoot, hidden by her veil, to watch the outside world, the children playing, the merchants singing, the sunset falling on the river. One evening, as she walked near the garden walls, she saw a man painting by the riverbank. He looked calm, lost in his art. His hands moved gently, as if they were touching the soul of the world. Curious, she whispered to her guard, "Who is he?" The guard replied, "A poor painter, princess. His name is Aaron." That night, Liana could not sleep. There was something peaceful in that man's eyes, something the palace never gave her. The next morning, Liana returned to the same place, disguised in a simple cloak. She stood behind the vines and watched Aaron paint again. After a while, she spoke softly, "Do you paint dreams too?" Aaron turned, surprised. For a moment, he forgot how to breathe. Her voice was like music, calm, soft, and warm. He smiled shyly. "Only when I see one." Liana laughed, a sound that made even the river quiet for a moment. She looked at his canvas. "You paint the sunrise so beautifully." Aaron replied, "It's not the sunrise that's beautiful, my lady. It's the way someone looks at it." Their words were few, but their hearts began to speak silently. Days turned into weeks. Every morning, Liana would sneak to the same spot, and Aaron would pretend he didn't notice until she spoke. They talked about everything, the color of the sky, the stories of the stars, and the secret wish to be free. She told him, "In the palace, I feel like a bird in a golden cage." And he said, "Maybe one day, I will paint the sky wide enough for you to fly in." Liana smiled. "Then I will fly there and never come back." Aaron painted her once, secretly, her eyes full of light, her hair flowing with the wind. He called the painting "The Song of My Soul." They both knew their meetings were forbidden. But love doesn't ask for permission, it grows quietly, like flowers between stones. One evening, a royal guard followed Liana. When he saw her talking to Aaron, he ran back to the palace. That night, King Darian was furious. "How dare my daughter meet a painter?" he shouted. Liana fell to her knees. "Father, please. He has done nothing wrong." But the king was proud and angry. You are a princess. You will marry a prince. That is your duty. Aaron was captured and brought before the king. He stood quietly, with respect, his eyes calm. Do you love my daughter? The king demanded. Aaron looked at Liana, then at the king, and said softly, yes. More than my own life. The king's voice thundered through the hall. Then you shall lead this kingdom by sunrise, or lose your freedom forever. Liana cried, Father, please. But Aaron only bowed and said, if leaving keeps her safe, I will go. Before dawn, he left, with nothing but his brush, his paints, and a heart heavy with love. Seasons passed. Liana stopped smiling. She stopped attending royal festivals. She spent her days in the garden where they first met, watching the empty riverbank. Her father saw her sadness, but his pride would not let him change his decision. Meanwhile, Aaron wandered through faraway towns. He painted faces, dreams, and sunsets, but every painting carried the same sadness in the eyes of his subjects. Over the years, people began to know him as the painter of hearts. His art was said to make even kings cry. But no matter how famous he became, his heart still belonged to one person, the princess by the river. After many years, Aaron returned to Averia. He was older, his beard touched with silver, but his eyes still carried warmth. The kingdom had changed, the walls were older, the king weaker, but the garden still bloomed with jasmine. When Liana heard that a painter named Aaron had returned, her heart skipped a beat. She ran to the garden, tears in her eyes, afraid it was just a dream. But it was real. He stood there, painting the same sunrise, the same spot where it all began. Aaron, she whispered. He turned, his eyes wide, his voice trembling. Liana? For a moment, time stopped. The river, the wind, the world, everything. When King Darian saw them together again, he did not shout. His hair was white now, his heart gentler. He looked at them for a long time, then sighed. Maybe I was wrong, he said quietly. Maybe love is also a kind of royalty. He turned to Aaron. You left with nothing but love, and returned with honor. You may now have the one thing you waited for. Tears filled Liana's eyes. The bells of Averia rang for joy as the kingdom prepared for their wedding, not of gold and power, but of love and forgiveness. Their wedding was simple but beautiful. People from every village came, carrying flowers and candles. Aaron wore plain white clothes, and Liana wore a crown of jasmine. When they exchanged vows, the sky turned golden, as if the heavens themselves were smiling. They built a small house by the river, where Aaron first painted her. Every morning, he painted the sunrise, and beside him, Liana read poetry or planted flowers. Their life was quiet, peaceful, full of laughter and simple joy. Years later, children in Averia often asked their parents, "Is it true that a princess married a painter?" And the elders would smile and say, "Yes." Because true love listens to the heart, not the crown. At night, when the wind passed over the river, it carried soft whispers, as if the world still remembered the story of Aaron and Liana. Some said if you listened closely, you could hear him say, "Do you paint dreams too?" And her gentle voice answering, "Only when I see one." Moral: love doesn't belong to power or wealth. It belongs to those who wait, believe, and stay true even when the world says no.